Welcome to an unboxing and a test of the new Army Painter SpeedPaint Metallics 2.0. We're going to unbox the set. This is all 10 of these colors, test out a couple of them, give you my thoughts. So first, what is this? Well, this is SpeedPaint Metallic Set 2.0. These are the first of their kind speed paints, very similar to contrast paints or the Vallejo Express colors, but these are metallic, and Army Painter is, as of right now, as of the release of this product, the only company that has something like this. So, it's metallic and speed paint all in one. Sign me up! I mean, this is Let's Get Gaming. This is not let's fiddle around with metallics before we get gaming. So, let's see what's in this box. I mean, obviously 10 speed paints, but it's still fun to open the box and see what's inside. Army Painter has been stepping up their game in their boxes lately with just stuff. So they have the new painting guide. This is the new one, which is, I don't know, better than the old one. It's got some good stuff in it. Check your local game store. They might have just a display of these, and it's free, take a copy. So grab one if you need one. Here's a little bit of a how-to speed paint sort of thing, right? Prime in one of these primers, and they recommend the matte white, the brain matter beige, and the ash gray. And then, right, coat over that with a pretty good, pretty good coat of the speed paint, and then use a varnish if you want at the end. That's pretty much what they're saying here. On the back side of that is their usual 5 stars, give us feedback, let us know if anything is missing or broken. I have had to contact them, and they responded promptly to my issue, so definitely reach out to them if you have any problems. This is really cool. This is actually a sticker sheet. I don't know if that's obvious on camera how shiny it is. But stickers, they've got the little goblin guy, some logos, and then I think these are the paints that come in their new 2.0 starter regular set. Cool arrangement of paints, a nice group of colors there for that set. I'm not going to be getting that set because I have all these colors, but there you go. That's a kind of a neat arrangement of colors, I think. Be able to paint almost anything with those. The only thing that I think it's missing is a decent brown. All right, here are the metallic speed paints. But first, of course, we have a brush, and they have been getting better with putting appropriate brushes in their speed paint. This is a hobby base coating brush, and if we look at that, that's a pretty nice brush. For speed painting, you want a thicker brush that still goes to a nice point. And so this is exactly the kind of brush I want to use, at least, for this kind of paint. We're going to set that brush aside. We're going to put it to work here in just a moment. All right, so what do we have for actual colors here? The first thing we have, I'll pull out, are... that is an awful sound. We have 3 colors of silver. We have a polished silver, a broadsword silver, and this thing called enchanted steel. I will have to say, I do appreciate having these 3 silvers. You'll notice that the enchanted steel appears to be kind of a bluish silver. We're going to be using that here in just a minute for our test, so we'll leave it there. But for now, the polished silver and broadsword silver we'll put aside. That'll be okay. All right, next we have gold. And so gold, we have a glittering loot, a golden armor, a hoplite gold. This is called a bronze, a horde bronze, but maybe that's kind of a gold-ish. And then we have this Aztec gold, which is slightly green. So I'm kind of liking how we have a variety of these colors in this golden spectrum. That's for sure. Looking forward to testing those out in the near future as well. Gotta figure out how best I want to swatch these up for use on the channel. Then we have our other kind of coppers and bronzes, and I know we had the brass over here, and I put it in with the gold, but we do our bronze here. Horde bronze versus Talos bronze. I mean, it's maybe more of a brass color, but it seems like kind of light. We'll have to compare those at one point. We're going to keep this brazen copper out here and test that one as well. And of course, we'll compare all of these in a future metallic color compare video. Just for quick reference here, these colors that I'm pulling onto camera right now, these are the 3 that came with the original starter kit. Hoplite Gold, Talos Bronze, and the Broadsword Silver. So maybe those are your most basic kind of middle-of-the-road colors. But honestly, I think I want the full set. I want all of these because I paint a lot of metallics, and I am not a big fan of having to, prime you're going to have to do anyways, but then you've got to paint it on, you've got to shade it, all that. No. Let's see how well this one coat wonder works. And to do that, we're going to grab a couple of things. First, we're going to put this out of the way, drop it on the floor, grab our palette, which is just a white tile from the local home improvement store, and get some of these colors out on here. Mixing bowls, preloaded. Here we go. Here's our enchanted steel. Put a nice pool of that on there. I did shake these, pre-shake them off camera before the video. I do recommend you shake them longer than I just did on camera, okay? So you don't have to shake yours on camera. You don't have to turn on a camera just to shake yours. But definitely, I got a little bit of paper towel off camera as well to keep my fingers semi-clean. So you don't have to shake them on camera. You don't have to get a camera out just to shake them. All right, copper. Got to get that all shaken up. It does have mixing balls, but I think they're kind of stuck. And you got to make sure that your mixing balls don't get stuck in the tip of the paint. That's a big one for this here. If it gets stuck in the tip, let's see if it does it here. No, you might have a problem squirting it out. But this one appeared to do fine this time. All right, brazen copper. So, we've got those two, and on camera they're both fairly dark, and I think that's that shading built in that you can see. I am going to use the brush that came with the set here, and I like to get it wet before I use it. That's just how I prefer to do speed paint, but then I do kind of wring the water out of it, because I don't really want a lot of water. So our model today is this here Droideka. This is a Droideka from Star Wars Legion. We'll see if we can get it to focus on there. This is a very detailed model, and this would be pretty much an absolute pain to paint without something like contrast and speed paint. I want to show you a couple of things here with these new metallics. So first of all, get some on your brush. You're going to want to load it up, but try not to get it so that it is too up in the little ferrule, that little silver piece, because that's going to cause your brush kind of damage over time. So give it a good coat. Like this coats very well. You want to give it a good coat. I'm going to see if I can keep this mostly in focus here. Painting through a camera lens, I do not recommend it. When you're using these, make sure you are using your eyes on the piece and not painting through a camera lens. But if we look at like some of these pieces here, like this little ridging, if I can get that to focus on there, that little ridging, like that's where this paint is going to shine in, getting a little bit of that kind of contrast on there. So what you're going to want to do is put it on pretty heavily all over where you want this contrast to be. These guys are pretty much mostly a dark silver color with an accent of the brazen copper mostly on this back piece here. So I'm just going to do one more little piece here on the leg here just to kind of show you how this goes on. Notice that I did have a little drip kind of off the brush there. I like to do that, spread it around. It's okay if you put on kind of a drip, but then make sure you spread it around. And you see how it's kind of sinking into those recesses there, pulling away from the highs. That's exactly what you want. Now, I probably didn't want that little splotch on there because that's supposed to be the copper color, but we can touch this up. This was primed, I believe, in the Citadel Gray Seer, which is not a bad primer for the Army Painter paints either. A quick comparison here. Here's a model in their ash gray to compare it to, a little bit darker. But I actually I really like both of these, so I'll use both of them for sure. All right. So again, a little bit of a drip on your brush, not a problem here, as long as you then go kind of spread it out over this. And you'll of course be painting the whole thing. I am not going to paint the whole thing because this is already a 10-minute long video, and you're thinking, when's he going to get to the brazen copper? Well, the answer is right now. Let's go ahead and rinse out our brush here of the enchanted steel. You'll notice I left quite a bit on the palette. I'm going to continue on after this video painting the rest of this guy. As long as the video turns out, which if you're watching this, it did. Grab some of this brazen copper. Now, I want to show you something here, and I don't know if you can see it on the palette, but you'll notice as I spread it, it's kind of got this, like the color comes out as it's thinner. Also, the metallic flecks are in there, and so as I paint this on this back of this Droideka, you might notice, get it to focus here, you might notice it doesn't appear too metallic-y. Why is that not focusing? It doesn't appear too metallic-y. It appears very speed painty, but not as metallic-y. So this is something that's kind of interesting with these metallic speed paints, is they almost appear to not be working as you're putting them on. And so I'll paint this on. I'll make sure it is sinking into these recesses here. Big flat areas, not great for speed paint anyways, which is why we're also going to make sure we put them on here with these little dots. You'll notice you see that effect there. As I'm painting this onto this panel where the dots are supposed to be dark, we do have that paint sinking into those recesses. Very nice. It's going to sit right in there. It's going to give us a neat effect. Now, that's pretty cool to see it go on, I hope. I hope that's useful to you to see this kind of consistency. And at first, when I did this, yes, this is not my first time, I was worried about this. I was worried, okay, I'm worried it's not going to focus now, but how it's not seeming so metallic. Well, let me just pull this out real quick and show you the results. So, we're going to do cooking show thing here. Here's the results. This is one that I painted earlier. Again, like any good cooking show, or I guess maybe painting show, we've got one that we've already done, so I can share my thoughts on this. This is one coat without touch-ups. I wanted you to see it. And if you look especially at like some of these areas, like the back here, those dots aren't quite as dark after one coat as you might want them, but notice the metallic. It is a nice shiny metallic all around. It does have darkness in those details. I really like how that works. The that dark, what is it, enchanted steel here, got into all these little recesses, gives it some character there. I think this worked really well. Let me compare that real quick to this guy. Guy on the left is regular old speed paint. This is a gray on the speed paint here, and then just a regular metallic. And you can see a couple of things. One, the speed paint metallic, this is unshaded by the way on the left. Speed paint metallic on the right is shinier. It is more uniform and flat. So this, I mean, you could say, yeah, thin your paint's a little bit better, which I probably should have for that guy. But also, just in general, one coat without thinking about thinning here on the metallic speed paints, I've got that instantly. Got a little bit more depth on those panels with the dots. I think this is just a better color for Droidekas in general, but, you know, pick your colors, right? But if you just look at, like, even on the head here, it's just a little bit of a better paint job all around, I think, with the speed paint metallics. Now, if you don't want it to be metallic, of course, we've got regular speed paint, but for these droids, a little bit of metallic is nice. The enchanted steel, or the, yes, enchanted steel, very subtle, but very good there. Compare it to the gray. I could dry brush this up with some, you know, metallic shine like we've done in some previous videos. And of course, this guy here on the right, I still got to give the red eyes, which I'll just do with a regular paint, these little red spots on the front. I don't know, you tell me. Do you have a favorite between these two? I'm really liking the speed paint metallic one. This, by the way, was primed with the same primer, so it's not, there's no shiny primer under here. All the shininess on here is an illusion. It's almost like a non-metallic metal with that speed paint, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe would you do this gray, but with this metallic? Like the bronze metallic, but the gray. Maybe I might do that. I like the contrast it's giving. But the contrast metallic is still pretty nice. Alright, this video is long enough, folks. Let's get out of here. That's my thoughts, initial thoughts on the speed paint. Trust the process. It goes on weird. It dries nice. I'm going to be testing out all these colors, letting you know what I think of the rest of them, and let's get a comparison out there. So, go ahead and finish with painting this guy, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Let's get gaming.